All right, let's talk about moving on up. Now, what I mean by moving on up is moving on up in digital SLRs. Obviously, something happens, and I'm going to tell you what happens as you move up in just a minute. But I just want to show you some basic cameras here. This is a Digital Rebel. This is an entry-level digital SLR. With the lens, it costs about $1,000. How amazing is that? A few years ago, no one would have imagined that. A mid-range digital camera, digital SLR camera, like the Canon 40D, might cost about $1,400, $1,500 for the body alone. You might spend $2,500 on a mid-range digital SLR. And a top-of-the-line digital SLR camera, well, really don't want to tell you how much it costs, but if you're a professional photographer, you know how much it costs. But you really need the pro camera to really get the professional quality results in all the different lighting situations that you'll be shooting with. And this is important, and to use all the accessories that are available to your camera. So let me tell you what happens as you move on up in the digital SLR line. First and foremost, for me anyway, is that at the high ISO settings, you get cleaner images. Me, as a professional photographer, I want to start out with the cleanest possible in-camera picture because I want to get the sharpest possible shot so I can make big enlargements. Or if I just want to take part of the frame, I can make a large enlargement from that. So as you move up in the line with digital SLRs, you get less noise, and that's very important. Check out this picture. I took this picture at the Ice Hotel. Let me just tell you something about the Ice Hotel. You don't want to sleep there because that's right, this is made of ice and the beds are made of ice. It's pretty cold in there. But I took this at ISO 1000. There's almost no grain. Actually, I can't see any grain or digital noise in this picture. So this is important for me. You get less digital noise at the high ISO settings. Another thing that happens as you move up in the digital SLR line is that the focus is faster and more accurate. Now, this is important if you're a sports photographer, a wildlife photographer, or any type of action photographer. Check out these two shots. On the left, you see a Galapagos hawk. This bird was flying by me. It seemed like 1,000,000 miles an hour. It was gone in the blink of the eye. Same thing with the picture on the right. This is an African fish eagle. It was just taken off. These birds move really fast. So the focus is really important for, again, action photographers, sports photographers, and wildlife photographers. Another thing that happens as you move up in the line is the frame rate is faster and the write speed, the image written to the card, is faster. And this is also important for sports photographers, action photographers, and wildlife photographers. Now, as I mentioned before, as you move up in the line, all the accessories work to their full capacity with the digital SLR. For example, with an entry-level digital SLR, if you put a tele-extender on it and a telephoto zoom lens, it may not focus in certain situations, or it may not autofocus at all. So with the top-of-the-line digital SLR camera, it will. All the accessories function to their full capacity, again, with the top-of-the-line digital SLR. So if you want to take advantage of, all the accessories, all the lenses, all the flashes, all the everything else, you want to go with the high-end digital SLR. As you move up in the line, something else happens. You have more menu options and you have more custom functions. This is important if you really want to customize your camera and set it up to your own personal needs. For example, most digital SLRs, when you get them, when you press the shutter release button, what happens is the camera focuses first and then it takes the picture. You release the shutter. But some photographers like to set the focus to one of the back buttons. So you press this back button, then you press the shutter release button. So this is just one example of the custom functions that are available on higher-end digital SLR cameras. Here's something else that happens when you move up in the line with digital SLRs. The viewfinder is brighter. Now, if you come on one of my workshops, you'll see that we're out before the sun rises. We're out after it sets. And we're shooting indoors sometimes in low light conditions. So what the bright viewfinder does is it really helps you see everything that's going on in the scene. Something else happens. You have more information in the viewfinder so you can make better exposure decisions. Check out this shot. I was up in the Arctic freezing my buns off. It was minus 35 degrees. I've never been so cold in my life. So I really didn't have that much time to make a good exposure outside. But because I had all that exposure information at my fingertips, I was really able to raise my camera and point and shoot. And that's what digital SLR photography really has to become. You have to know your camera inside and out, so it becomes like point and shoot photography. Let me give you a quick example. Eric Clapton, my favorite guitar player. Do you think when he plays, he's thinking about the note he played, the note he's playing, and the note he's going to play next? No, it just happens. And this is what has to happen when you're taking pictures. You have to know all the camera controls. You have to know exactly what they're going to do so you can get the best possible shot and just concentrate on composition. And last but not least, as you move up in the line, you get better image quality. Not only because the sensor is larger, it's called a full frame image sensor because it's the size of a 35 millimeter film frame, and not only because you have all those millions and millions and millions of pixels in there, but it's due to how the image is processed. That's why these cameras are a little heavier than entry-level cameras. They have more computer stuff in there. For example, my camera has what's called an on-sensor noise reducer. That helps me get those clean pictures that I was talking about before. So when you're looking for a camera, look at all these different features that can help you take great shots, but really check on the web and see how that image is processed. All right, that's the end of part 1. Let's move on to part 2.